Kia ora. As we head through into Friday, we've got some more wet weather back on the cards. You can see on the satellite images this massive cloud over the Tasman Sea. As that pushes closer towards us, we are going to find that rainfall reaching in towards the western side. There are some severe weather watches and warnings already in place. And generally, Friday is looking like rather a cloudy and wet day for many of us. You can see, though, as we head through the rest of this afternoon, the high pressure still exerting enough influence to give a pretty decent day across the South Island and across many parts of the North Island as well. Some nice clear skies, a few showers springing up. However, it's that next area of wet weather on these fronts moving in from the Tasman Sea, which is going to bring us some heavy rainfall. You can see as we head in towards the night, that rain feeds in towards places like the Nelson and Tasman area and pushes on towards that western coast. Now, we are going to find that rain makes its way right the way across, but as well as bringing all that moisture and wet weather, it's also bringing some really warm air. Look at these nighttime temperatures. As we go through towards the early hours of Friday, lows up north, 19 degrees Celsius for Auckland, even down south, 13 degrees Celsius in towards places like Queenstown, a relatively mild night for you as well. Now, for Friday, it is looking like rather a grey start today and some heavy rainfall. That rain pushing its way across, some heavy falls, perhaps even some thunderstorms on those western facing coasts. And again, later in the day down in the far south, you'll notice once the early rain clears away from the likes of, say, Canterbury and Marlborough, things are looking better for the second half of the day. But generally, it is a much more unsettled story for Friday. Still relatively mild, but I think we are going to find it's a wet and rather blustery story as well. There are some severe weather watches and warnings in place for those areas where I'd like to see the heaviest rainfall. So places like the ranges of Westland, in towards those western areas of the Tasman district, and up in towards Mount Taranaki. That's where the watches, that's where the warnings are at the moment for that heavy rainfall. But you can see as well, we've also got watches for areas and parts of Fiordland, Bulla, across and towards the ranges of the Nelson district, in towards the Tauranga Range, the Tongariro National Park, and those eastern parts of the Bay of Plenty. So keep an eye on those. You can find the timings and the details for your area on the Met Service website, but generally it is a rather wet looking story. That heavy rainfall pushing in towards the west, in amongst it some heavy, perhaps thundery falls. You can see those darker blues over the tops of Mount Taranaki in towards the central plateau, and as we go through in towards the afternoon, in through the Bay of Plenty as well. Now, a bit of protection from the hills down towards those southern parts and towards Wanganui and around that eastern coast. So although we'll find spells of rain through here, there's a better story on that eastern coast than we'll find out west, where we'll find spells of rain on and off through the daytime with some heavy falls as well. And like I say, with that risk of one or two rumbles of thunder, and that could bring some rather intense bursts of rainfall as well. Well worth keeping an eye on the forecast. Down towards Wellington as well, I think we will find the rain perhaps easing off a touch through the afternoon, but it will still be rather a cloudy day with spells of rain on and off. Temperature-wise, the warmest temperatures out in towards places like Napier, highs here of 28, but even up in Northland, we'll find temperatures up to around about 27 degrees Celsius, so still a hot looking day. But you'll notice our nighttime temperatures stay almost above 20 degrees Celsius in many spots, places like Northland, up in towards Tauranga, and even across in towards that eastern coast. It's going to be a very warm day, 20 degrees Celsius down in Wellington, and even in the capital, nighttime temperatures no lower than about 17 degrees Celsius. It'll be a warm night to come as we head through in towards Saturday. Now for the South Island, again, we've got those severe weather watches and warnings down that western part of the country. You can see we start off with that wet weather even in towards the east as well. As we head through the daytime on Friday, that does clear away, so an improving story for that eastern coast and some fine, dry and sunny weather coming through there. But I think we're going to keep hold of more cloud and wet weather on that western coast of the South Island. Some heavy falls, and like I say, still with that risk of some thunderstorms perhaps through the morning time. And as we go towards the end of the day, we could find more showers and thunderstorms pushing back up in towards parts of Southland and Otago. So worth keeping an eye on the forecast, but we have got the heaviest rainfall around those higher parts of Westland and also that far northern part of the South Island as well. But where we get those clearer skies and those northwesterlies, it will be a hot day down through Canterbury. Highs back to 30 degrees Celsius for Christchurch. And again, you'll notice that warm air sticks with us through the night time as well, and it stays very warm through the night. 19 degrees Celsius our minimum temperature for Christchurch through into those early hours of Saturday morning. Now for Saturday, we are going to find that rain takes its time just to clear away from the north again, perhaps the old rumble of thunder first thing. But Saturday is looking like a bit of a respite between this first area of wet weather and that next area of rainfall you can see waiting to come across us from the Tasman Sea. That next in the series of fronts runs across us on New Year's Eve. So we are going to find the last day of December more wet weather on those western facing coasts. This front continues to move northwards. At the moment, as we head through the daytime, we'll find that front clearing the likes of, say, Auckland just as we go through towards midnight to celebrate the new year. But another southerly will bring in more cloud towards Christchurch and Wellington through the evening itself. Now, it's worth saying there's still time for things to change. Do keep an eye on the forecast if you're planning your overnight activities through to welcome in the new year. But the good news is an area of high pressure builds across us. So the start of 2024 looks to be a lot more settled. But to get there, we've got some wet weather to come. Don't forget, you can find all the latest forecasts, watches and warnings at metservice.com.